Welcome back, BLERD FORCE 1 with your boys Mo and Ladi. And today we're reviewing X-Men 97 Episode 4. It's entitled Motendo / Life Death Part 1. It's coming to you from Disney+. So, what did we think about it, and should you be watching? And before we get into this review, get down there, hit like on this video. Ladi, I knew X-Men 97 was going to lean hard into the nostalgia and all that stuff. But I swear, this took me straight back to the arcades and playing beat 'em ups, and just it made me feel, I won't say it made me feel like a kid again, but it got very, very close. I really like this episode. It's about Jubilee and what's his name, Roberto, getting caught up in more of Mojo's foolishness over in Mojo world, but he decided, as he said, to pivot into video games. Very smart thing to get in before PlayStation, I have to say. And and in so doing, he wants to put them into a video game. Think the Matrix, but 16-bit. And of course, Jubilee's got to, she's got to work her way through, because she's the teen in the video game head. She got to work her way through and defeat him. And on the back half of this episode, we see Storm, who has joined up with Forge to try to figure out what's going on with her powers, if they can restore them. And also, dare I say, got a little love connection going on there. So all around, a lot of stuff going on in this episode. Ladi, what did you think about it?
Yeah, this is what I will call, how can I say it? Canon filler. It's not bad. It's not bad, and it's not great. It's good. It was a good episode. Good episode. I enjoyed it. It was like you said. We have to also remember this was in 1997. So, the show is based in 1997. So they're going to have the 16-bit, almost 32-bit graphics, which is really nice. So they were showing the beat 'em ups. And I was like, oh yeah, this brings me back to the days of the PlayStation, not really Super Nintendo, but Sega Saturn, highly rezzed, good artwork, beat 'em up games, the X-Men beat 'em up, or Streets of Rage, or the Ninja Turtles game. And I was like, oh, I was really liking this. I had a little bit of that what is that thing called, SCP thing, where, because there's a very popular SCP where the video game, you go into the video game, and if you play the video game, you go inside of it. Mm-hmm. But unlike the SCP, there's actually real stakes where you can die. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
They literally made a Matrix reference, which was fun. I was like, this technically within the universe, it predates the Matrix by a couple years, but yeah. They made a Matrix reference where they picked up a phone and it transported them out of the little the level. I thought that was fun. I get what you're saying about canon filler, because to be honest, I wasn't a big fan of Mojo as a bad guy in the comics, or in the first in the original X-Men animated series. He was very, I understood that was a bit of writers poking fun at network executives and shit like that, and that's really that was what the way he was conceived in the comics too. But I was always like, okay, y'all this is just, let's have them team up and do silly, funny things in sort of a dangerous way. Cool. It's not that I didn't like them. I was just like, this was not super compelling to me. That being said, I was about halfway through the first half of this, so Jubilee's part of this, and I was like, okay, this is fine. I wasn't really feeling it, but I was like, this is fine. But there was a moment where it switched into high gear, and I was like, okay, no, I love this actually. And it was the moment in which it turned into the side-scrolling beat 'em up, and remember, it scrolled down, and it looked like you were looking at the X-Men the arcade, or X-Men versus Marvel versus X-Men, or whatever, the Capcom games. And it scrolled down, and it was 16-bit, and then it looked sort of Scott Pilgrimish when Jubilee was. I was like, okay, never mind. I love this. That first part of that, it was fine, but this was like the shit. And so the rest of it continued in that manner. And this may be more aimed at me, me and you, because we were fans of those games back at the time. But they obviously really, whoever wrote this and whoever did the art on this, they almost literally designed a video game that I wish it fucking existed. You know what I'm saying? Because they've made a Ninja Turtles, beat 'em up, Shredder's Revenge, right, in the style of the old one. They made other beat 'em ups like that. Where is my X-Men the Arcade game part 2? Where is it? Y'all put this on the fucking screen for me on this episode. I need this right now. Cause and Jubilee was fucking badass in it too. Like, I mean, come on.
I completely agree.
I'm like, you guys are missing. I will give you money if you will make this game that you put in this episode. Like, I'll give you money for it. Just do it. That said, Mojo still kind of sucks as like a bad guy, but this was very fun. I thought it's a lot of referencing, a lot of fun stuff to it. Seeing Jubilee, she turned 18 in this episode, so now she's a grown up. And she's doing grown up shit. She's sitting up there kicking ass. Her powers are much cooler. She understood the video game thing. She fought like fake ass Magneto, all of that good stuff. And then to have it turn around, spoiler, to find out that the glitch or whatever in the game that's been sort of helping her and Roberto out was actually a digital version of herself that had lived who knows how many years. Now she's old and gray. And they do a spirit bomb on motherfucking Mojo. They do a Jubilee spirit bomb. I was like, how can I not love this? And Roberto even, remember, he had fucking powers and actually did some shit. I was like, come on. How can I not love this? They even had an extra life. I mean, it was good.
I don't know. Honestly, don't know why they don't do that more in cinema or movies where like they have like video game references. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people hate on Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the movie, but it's a cult classic because of the little small stuff of like, what are you doing? Grabbing a 1-up. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things that it's just like, I don't know why it's not done a little bit more. Especially now with how popular video games have gotten and the 90s becoming vintage, which kind of pisses me off a little bit. But
I mean, it was like 30 years ago, but
yes,
I just think they handled all of that extremely well. And seeing the payoff being that we knew, Roberto and Jubilee were kind of going to get together. But I thought it was a cute little payoff for both of them. I'm loving that for them. I'm loving Roberto not being a little bitch in this episode too. He's like, she's like, ain't nobody watching you use your damn powers. I'm like, thank you, please. Because Sunspot is actually a pretty fucking badass character. He's got some great powers. He just...
What if someone is using a CCTV on me? You see, this is what makes it even worse. Like, if this was like nowadays, I'll be like, yeah, it's true. There's someone could be watching. It's 97. What the fuck, bro? Hey, come on, man.
I'm like, this ain't CSI. They ain't gonna be able to zoom in on any of that grainy ass shit.
Man, come on. I was like, when it happened, I was like, bro.
If you don't get out of here.
97, man.
Oh man, so that's the first half. Like I said, it really brought it home. I loved it. The second half, I really kind of loved it too. Like, I feel you that this isn't as good as like some of the previous episodes, because they're dealing with more like interesting storylines. But Life Death has been kind of interesting to me, especially seeing Storm and Forge in their relationship, and Forge kind of revealing why he's so interested in helping her out. Finding out that Forge, I don't want to call him a sellout. That's not fair, but he definitely was using his mutant power in a way that turns out to be detrimental for mutants. And so kind of seeing that, his remorse at that was interesting, but also just watching the two of them sort of, what else can you call it? Falling for each other was very, very interesting. Because, you know, one thing I've always been sort of down on the X-Men, especially the cartoon, was Storm was always just there. You know, she didn't seem to like she had a life, but she didn't really have a life. There's all this soap opera shit going on between the other X-Men, but no one wants to take a run at Storm. Storm gets no love, right? And so I kind of really enjoyed that they show this aspect of her life. That yes, people are attracted to her because, I mean, let's be honest, she's the hottest X-Men. And Forge is like, he's a cool dude, and he makes his play. So why not? Why shouldn't they show that? And you know, them trying to sort of reconcile the fact that he's partially responsible for her depowering. And then there's this mystical shit going on. And one thing I did not like about this part of it is that it stopped so abruptly. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is actually happening in here? I want to know what the hell is this thing that's trying to attack her? So
yeah,
but I did enjoy it. I liked it quite a bit. I like Storm, and I like seeing her still being the queen of Storm or of weather or whatever, even when she's not. You know, she's still regal. She's still, you know, got her head about her, and she's just sort of lost a little bit right now because of her powers. But that doesn't mean she's not still Storm.
Yeah.
So I don't know. How do you feel about this part?
You know, it's one of the things that, like, not comic books, but like Medium just forgets that Storm is actually a really cool character. I don't know why they decide to like take parts of her, like that part of her out. You know what I mean? You know, this is why I really liked what was that show? X-Men.
Which one, Evolution or Wolverine?
X-Men Evolution. X-Men Evolution, in my opinion, gave her a lot of like moments that, in my opinion, gave her a lot of moments in my opinion that like made her more human, because they created a whole new mutant that never existed called Spike, which was his nephew. You know, and I think, was she married to? I think that's the only X-Men show that she's ever was actually married to Black Panther. Yeah, I think X-Men Evolution, she is married to Black Panther, because they mention Wakanda, and it mentions her husband.
Well, that was going on in the comics, I think, in the early 2000s. But yeah, it is just nice to see her, you know, have a lot more character develop. Everything's all about Scott and Jean and motherfucking Wolverine, like, and sometimes Rogue. I'm like, okay, cool. But yeah, so I'm interested to see where that goes. Overall, I think it's a pretty good episode. I really love the kind of the middle portion of it, just because of the end of the Jubilee part. But I think it's a good entry into this series. And what do you call it? Canon filler.
Canon filler, yes.
As that goes, not bad. So anyway, I think that's all of our thoughts on this episode. But what did you guys think about it? What did you think about what we had to say? Get down to the comment section, leave your thoughts there. And of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, blerd_force1 on Instagram and Threads, and super_not_funnyshow on TikTok. While you're down there, do us a favor, hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. All that good stuff helps grow this channel, helps more people to see videos just like this. All right, thanks for joining us. Come back next week. We are going to talk about X-Men 97, episode 5. Should be a good time. Hope you'll join us. Until then, I've been Mo, your commentator extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Ladi. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.